As a musician, it's all about the song. And as guitar players, some of us have a love-hate relationship with learning songs. But today we're going to kick your progress up a notch by getting your own set list of songs together here on week 5 of Get Moving Guitar. This is the live version. I'm just going to hang out with you guys. I'm going to go over what we talked about in the podcast today, have some fun, talk about some things. In fact, as we go on, let's see here. I got to open my email up. Got some news about the giveaway. We do have a winner for the giveaway, and the winner's name is, let's see here. I have it right here. No, I don't. I think it's, let's see here. I'm going through a bunch of emails, and I will get it. In the meantime, how are you all doing today? We do have I've found the first bit of information. We do have a promo code from Positive Grid that's going to be lasting through the 31st. So we have almost 2 weeks of this. And if anyone is interested in getting their own Spark Amplifier, they're giving $10 off with the promo code PlayGuitar10, PlayGuitar10. And let's see here. I think it was Roger Poulin, I think is his name. I remember that from when I said it on the podcast. I'm just having a hard time finding the email to make it official here. But I'm pretty sure that was the name. We're going to be talking about, let's see here. Let's say hi to everybody first before we get into it a little bit. Jason's here. Hi, Jason. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing good. Dean's here. Welcome, Dean. Hope everything's good. Same with David. Jim's here. And Dean says, remember to hit the like. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hit the like if you are watching on any platform that we're on. Had a hard time today with getting the stream set up. There was an issue with the Facebook groups. And for some reason, it kicked. Every time I try to add the Facebook group in there, it added it said it wasn't working, but then it added a few links into it as well. So it was acting funny. But if anyone's in the Facebook group and it's working, that'd be good to hear about. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions here about songs. Right? Let me scroll down here. Do you remember the first song that you ever learned? Do you have any songs that you can play from start to finish? How many songs do you know? And have you ever written a song? I ask these questions a lot. Songs are important. Let's see here. Kevin says it's working in Facebook. That's awesome. That's awesome. And Jason says, great. Good morning, Jason. That's great. I hope everything's good. Okay. So songs are important. Songs are part of who we are. We relate to songs. We remember different times of our lives through songs. Songs can express feelings that maybe we can't put into words. And as a guitar player, there's even greater connection to songs for us. These are what we have. These are valuable. Songs are our currency. This allows us to do things. These are the vehicle that holds all the stuff that we work on in the song. And it's how you can show the world, show someone who knows nothing about music, all of the hard work that you've put into your instrument. You can feature it through there. We're also able to communicate with other musicians. Even if you don't speak the same language, there's a communication going on. I can learn a lot about a student from the way that they relate to songs. And I can pretty quickly see what they're missing and what they need to work on from that. And one of the important things in my life as a guitar player, a very wonderful educational tool, is the set list. Organizing your songs. being able to get in control of them, keeping track of them. So everything you need to know is in a song. If you listen to a song, all the things that you want to be able to do, chords, scales, rhythm, they're all in there. The problem when we go to learn a song is that there's no instructions. There's no order to it. There's no first learn this, then learn this, then learn this, and then you'll be able to play this song. It's just all there, and it can get overwhelming. We have lots of songs that we would like to play, but they might be beyond where we're at on the guitar, and it's not obvious. Well, how do we get there? What are the skills that we need to know to play them? We also have issues with learning songs. The most common for all of us is the need to just want to learn parts of songs. I like that part. I'm going to work on that. And then once you've got that part, you're like, I don't want to learn the rest of the song, right? You pick the part you like, you learn it, then you move on to another song, to another part of another song. The repetition of those basic chords over and over again, it's not really exciting, especially to the new guitar player. They want to learn the riff or the cool part. But it's very inward. And everything's revolving around you at the beginning, what you like and what you want to learn. But what you haven't experienced at that point is how playing full songs and presenting them to people and moving people with the song. It makes the full songs are what's valuable, not the parts of songs. And that turns it from being inward to being outward. And that changes everything. You start to see how these repetitive parts of the songs that you're not really interested in and that are overlooked are very important to the people who are listening to the music. And they may be a little bit more important than that cool riff. There's another issue, though, and this is something that's growing all the time, and that's quantity over quality with songs. Songland, right? It's almost a competition. I know this many songs. How many songs do you know? I know this song, right? And that's because of tablature and videos. There's everybody's, learning songs and putting it out there. And they're so easy to get. And being able to work your way through a lot of these songs is pretty simple. Once you figure out the mechanics of it, I put your finger here at this fret. The next you go to the 6th fret. Next you go to on the next string on the 9th fret. You're being like a player piano. You're mimicking your way through songs. And in the beginning, that's great because it's always exciting to hear yourself play something that you never thought you'd be able to play. And there's a little bit of an addiction to that, right? Let's see, I can do that. Now let's see what I can do next. What can I play next? Then the problem comes later when, you start to realize there's going to be much more to learn than just what fret number do I play and what string do I play it on. There's a lot more to it than that. And then when you have no knowledge of what you're doing, and you're not really building skills as a guitar player, you start to get stuck. But you would be surprised at just how far you can get with just a little bit of understanding of how music works, a little bit of progress, a little bit of effort to understand the songs that you're playing and that you have played. And then when you learn how music works, that's when the magic starts to happen. You start to build your own voice on the instrument, which is what I want for you to have your own voice. So how do we do that? How do we use these songs in a way to get our own voice on the guitar? And this is my favorite tool of all the ones we go over, and that is the set list. So what's a set list? Right? It's a tool for organizing songs. It's used by everyone, countless musicians. You see it. If you go up to, say you go to see your favorite band or just a local band, and you go up before they start and you go up to the front on the stage, and there's usually a piece of paper duct taped to the floor it's printed with all the names of the songs. It's been stepped on. It's, people spilled drinks on it. I know when I would play clubs, when I was playing clubs a lot, I loved when we first got there. I could see what the songs were that the band that played there the night before was playing, right? All the songs were right there. It was pretty cool. I'd like, oh, okay, that's a little behind the scenes, right? Basically, it lists the titles of a group of songs to be played. It allows musicians to create a good order of songs to keep things interesting during a night of music. You can't just pick randomly a bunch of songs and expect them to keep people's attention. There's a thought process to it. There's a reason why one song would be played at a certain time of the night and then another one. And then once you find a good set list, you tend to use them a lot. You might like the songs that you're playing, but when you play them in this order, it seems to work. So that's another aspect of it, right? Our set lists, they usually went 10 to 15 songs. If we were playing in a nightclub, we might do 4 sets. If we were playing just like a festival or something like that, we might combine 2 of them. We might have like a 15, 20 song, festival set, maybe not even that much, but you'd have extra songs ready for that. But I found that 10 songs, groups of 10 songs, was easy for me. I could remember them. I could, it wasn't so much that I would just go, oh man, that's too many songs, right? So 10 songs I found was a good number to focus on. So the problem with a guitar player who's not out there gigging, who's a practicing guitarist at home, where you have no outlet for performance, is that your learning starts to become unfocused. You kind of thinking, I want to do a little this, and I want to do a little this, and I'm bored with this, and I want to go over there. You have no goals. You're just a la carte, taking things from here and there. What I found is when you set small, manageable goals, that's when progress happens. And my fastest progress as a guitar player happened when I learned songs in groups of 10. I had value. I had currency. Those groups of 10 I could do something with, right? I could focus on the songs. I wasn't just mimicking the songs. I would learn those 10 songs inside and out. But I had a little mini performance prepared if I could just play through those 10 songs. Someone would come up to you when you first started playing guitar. I had this a ton. I'm sure you all have had. Oh, you're playing guitar, huh? Play me something, right? Phew. Whoa, that's where you just want to crawl under the table. Well, I'm not ready to play anything for anybody yet. I'm just learning these parts of all these different songs. But when I had groups of 10 songs, I wouldn't have to avoid that anymore. At a moment's notice, I could play 10 songs for a few family members, or I could go down to a coffee shop, play an acoustic set of those 10 songs, or I could go to a festival, or it could be a set in a nightclub. Those same songs would work in lots of different situations. They were my currency. I had something. When I had just a bunch of just licks, I knew how to do this lick, that lick there. I knew how to do this riff and this song there. I really had nothing. But once I had set lists of songs that I could play, I had something. So I would like for you to have that. I would like for you to bring this tool into your practice. I would like for you to group your songs that you know into 10 song set lists. We all have that mental list of songs that we would like to be able to play. Sometimes you hear it, you're just flipping through things and you hear a song. Oh man, I'd like to play that song. And you kind of make a little mental notebook there, mental note there, right? And you probably thought, well, yeah, I'd like to, but I might never get to that, or you might get negative thoughts. Oh, that might be too much. That'll be too much work. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make a list of the songs that you would like to play in the future. Some place where you can go when you have an idea, then you can write it down. So I'm going to take a break from the topic here, and I want to show you what is in the download section for this week of Get Moving Guitar. So here we go. This is the PDF for this week. And if you take a look here, I'm going to start up here. We have our Setlist Legacy. These are songs that you've learned before. And then the next one, we'll talk about that in a second. The next one is songs you like to do in the future. So you've got a good place. You can write down a whole bunch of different names of songs. You can print this out. You can print it out over and over again if you have a ton of songs. But some place to keep those songs that you're interested in playing. I'm going to continue. We'll get back to the legacy songs in just a second. So, with the songs that you like to play in the future, you're going to write them all down. Write down all the songs you want to play and take a look at them. What do you see? Do some of the songs look impossible to you? Are some of them you think you could do pretty easily if you do a little work with them? Go through each of these songs, and I'd like for you to rate them, okay? From, let's say, 1 to 5. Easiest to hardest. Or you could do 1 to 10, depending on how many songs you have. But at that point, you're starting to group your songs into set lists, right? For the first set, the ones that all got a number 1, those are your easiest songs. Group the 10 easiest songs. If you have 20, make 2 sets of the easiest songs that you want to play. Next group a set of 10, they're not, that are the next step up in difficulty, and then repeat until all of your songs have a rating, which is a group. Okay, we've grouped all those songs by difficulty. Next, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do legacy. We're going to do the songs that we've learned in the past. Think about the first songs that you learned, even if they were just like pieces of songs, right? And we're going to start to group them in 10-song legacy set lists. And how we do that, ratings and those sort of things, it could be a way of breaking them together. But what I like to do is I like to keep all of my legacy song lists by some sort of a date. It could be like the date I learned them, or maybe it was the year. Maybe these are songs from the first year that I was playing guitar. And that's how I think of it. These are the songs I learned when I was my first year, and then on when I was starting in bands. And I kind of block them out by time periods in my guitar playing. This is going to take a while. You've probably learned songs you've forgotten about, but they're most likely a good group of songs that you might not remember learning, but just give it a while, and we're going to keep adding songs to this as you remember them. But just by doing these very easy things, right? What have we got? We have value now. Something very valuable, that's clarity on our songs. Here's the songs that I've learned, and here are the songs I want to learn. Black and white on paper, okay? Now, I've also rated these. I've broken them down into manageable groups, right? We've got this in order, where before it was just chaos. Songs keep coming at you. You keep flipping this. Oh, I'd like to learn that. Oh, I'd like to learn that. Now we have them all planned out, and the songs we've learned we have in groups. And that allows us to move on to the next section today, which is we're going to refine the old songs and we're going to conquer the new songs. Why would we do that? Each week in Get Moving Guitar, we've been highlighting a different aspect of what a well-rounded daily practice is. And this is another part of that. Working on songs is essential to your growth as a musician, and that haphazard approach of just learning things from here or there, that's one of the biggest things that get you stuck in the mud. If you just keep piling on, bits and pieces of random songs, an incomplete knowledge of what you're doing, you're going to get stuck. And we're now going to plan our practice using these set lists that you've created. Let's take a look back over here before we move in there a little bit farther. So here's our first page. Here's our legacy songs, difficult rating from 1 to 5. And then here's our future songs, which we're also using a difficulty ratings from 1 to 5, making some set lists out of that. Now, here's what a set list looks like. Super simple, right? It's like you see it on stage, taped to the floor. 1 through 10, names of songs. That's it. And we're going to give it a number, set list number, whatever it is, but it's in groups of songs with similar difficulty. Okay? I'm going to go, Jason's doing some funny stuff on here. Let me go to the chat before we move on here. This is good. So let's see here. I'm going to go back a little bit. David says he's closing in on knowing a whole Joe Satriani song. That's awesome. Jason says written more songs than songs I can play all the way through. That's good, but writing songs is great. Just force myself to learn the urban spaceman. Just so I can say I can play one all the way through. I used to just learn intros. Good. Dwayne's here. Lee's here. Hey, how you doing? Dwayne says, I learned one song. Are the good times really over? And I'm working on Wonderful Tonight, but it's trickier to sing along to. That's the next step. I'm happy with you just learning the songs without singing along at first. But if that's a goal, the earlier you work on that, the better. Kevin says, I need to get on learning songs. I think this will help my growth a ton. It's a very important part, but it's the way you do it. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Dean says, I just started from the beginning from ELP. Yes, fun song. Jason says, preach. Okay, we're getting to Jason's situation there. Chris is here. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Dean says Facebook's feeds. Now, Facebook's acting funny today for some reason. And there's our link. Dean put that up there for the page, which also has the audio podcast on there. Thank you, Dean. And Jason says, I've got a huge list of saved songs on my Spark playlist. Great. I can play along with them, but I have trouble committing them to memory. Yep. That's adding them to a daily routine, breaking them down into the different set lists of the future and legacy there. And Jason feels attacked. No, I'm not attacking you. Man, this is so common. So common. Sometimes when I talk about this stuff, I feel like, well, this is pretty, you think over time, this is really common knowledge. Do I really have said this a few times, but is it really worth getting into? And it is. It is so common. And even if you have a period of time where you're working on them, it's easy to slip out of this too. So I think this is important. It's very important to do. Dwayne says, to Jason, committing a song to memory is something I need to figure out as well. Yeah, we're going to add this to our practice. We're going to be revisiting old songs and working on new songs during our practice. You'll see how that goes as we go through. Okay, so I'm going to get back to it here. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do first is we're going to agree on something. And what we're going to agree on is from now forward, we're going to only learn complete songs from this point on. I know. What if you start the song and it's too hard? Or what if you're not sure it's worth the amount of time that it'll take to learn it? This doesn't sound, this doesn't sound like Lee's taking everything into consideration, right? Songs are tough. Here's how I see it. There's some reason why you wanted to learn that song in the first place, right? Don't drop it. Even though there might be parts of it that might not be as exciting as the other parts, we're not going to drop it like we did before. We're not just going to learn one little part and then go on to the next. If you've got trouble with the song if you're losing interest, or if there's some, you found a part that's too difficult, there's nothing wrong with the song. It's just in the wrong set list. Okay? I've done this a lot in bands where we thought a song would go over great at a certain time of the night, and it just flopped. It didn't work. It wasn't working. But we took that song out of that set, put it maybe at the end of the night, and it was a success. Right? If you're having trouble with the song, there's nothing wrong with that song. We're not going to drop it. We're going to move it to a different set list. Maybe something that's farther down that you'll work on later, where you've progressed. Your progress is enough where you can attack it at a different place. And we're going to, even though we move it, we're going to replace that song with another song that's more suited to the level that you're on. So the set list is always going to be 10. Okay? Let's talk about the new songs. Those are for old songs. The new songs you want to play. We're going to conquer these. So let's do it. How do you have a group of your first 10 songs that you now have one that's close to the level that you are as a guitar player? We're going to start with the lowest set. How do we tackle this? We're going to start by listening. We're going to start by using our ears. That's not how anyone learns songs anymore. We don't listen to the song. We don't try and figure it out on our own. We go to Ultimate Guitar, or we go to YouTube, right? Have somebody else tell us how to play it. That's shortchanging yourself. Let's go through this. So we're going to start by using our ears. We're going to load song 1 of the easiest set list that you have of the new songs, and we're going to just sit there and listen to it one time without touching the guitar or putting the guitar away for a while. And we're going to figure out, what do we notice about that song? The general things. Does it sound happy? Does it sound sad? Can you hear the different parts of the songs? Can you hear the chorus, the bridge? Does it build over time? The stuff that you can get, we're going to figure out what is it that we can get just from listening to a song at this point, right? And that's going to change over time as we get better with the guitar. There's going to be more that we can pick out without having to go through a lot of stuff. Is there a solo? Is it pentatonic, or is it like a very complex scale, or like a mode or something like that? And we're going to write this down. We're going to write down all this information that you can of this first song just by listening. Step 2. This is where we pick up the guitar. This is where we use this guitar, to figure out some more information about the song. What key's the song in? Well, if you just have to go boom, 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 boom until you find the key, right? That's fine. That's a way to start. What are the basic chords in there? Maybe not all the riffs and maybe not all the more advanced stuff, but what are the basic songs? I was talking with somebody today, and they were, it was one of the coaching videos. I think it was Dean. Dean's here, talking about jamming, and you can play a ton of different songs just with a few chords, right? Those are the basic chords. They may not be the way the song is actually performed, but there are basic chords for every song. See if you can figure out what those are. See if you can figure out what the scale is that the guitar player is using. Okay? Just trial and error, until you find it. Put that time into. Then, once you figure out as much as you can on your own, that's when you start to play along with the song as best as you can. You write out the form of the song. You can be intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. What are all these things? I just use I for intro, V for verse, C1, C2. You can write that down in one little corner of a piece of paper, the form of the song. And then, at this point, we've listened. We've figured out some of the basic things about the song. It's not perfect, but we're using our ears. We're getting used to doing that. We've written out the form. Now, this is when we start to really learn the song. We're going to start at the beginning, and we're going to use our ears and the guitar to work out the first part of the song. And we're going to write down what we find. It could be as a lead sheet. You could just be writing the chords down, or you could write it down in tablature, exactly what you play. But we're going to work our way through the sections of the song. This is what I do for all songs. And I'm going to do my best to figure out as much as possible and make notes for myself so I don't forget it. Now, this is skill level dependent, right? You may have more of the song figured out or less of the song figured out. It's not a big deal. This is not stressful stuff. Don't worry if you're struggling a little bit on this. That struggle, this is where we get better. This is the big part of moving forward on the guitar. The more you try to learn by ear, the easier it becomes and the faster you improve, right? And then at some point, you've reached the end of what you can do on your own. You're sure at some point that you've learned as much as you can for this song. That's the time that you move on and get some help. That's when you go to tablature, chord sheets, all of those things, all of the stuff that's provided for us. So you've done your part. You know the song now. You know the form. You know what key it's in. You know the basic chords. You have your own perspective of the song. You may not be far enough to play it perfectly, but you have an idea of what's going on. That's important. Once you've used your ears to figure out the new song, looking up these tabs take on a new meaning. Before, when you just go in there and go to a video and have somebody teach you how to play it, you're putting your trust in that person who did the video or who put up the tab. So you're coming in there with no knowledge and you're being told what to do. Now that you've put the time in ahead, even if it's not perfect, you've put the time in, you're coming into this differently. Now you're going to the video. Now you're going to the tablature and you're comparing instead of being told what to do. You're comparing. You're coming at it with a little bit stronger, in a stronger way, right? You're comparing your knowledge with theirs. And sometimes you may, this has happened to me many times, you got a better idea of what's going on than that person that's done that there, especially on Ultimate Guitar, right? Because anyone of any skill level can post a tab of a song and you get all sorts of different results. But what you do at this point is you run through what's on there, run through the tab and make note of where what they do is different than what you tried to figure out on your own. Play it your way once, play it the tab way once, and then listen to the original song one more time. Then what you're doing is you're making a decision. You're making the decision, right? Whether your version is closer or that person's version is closer. You see what we're doing? We're coming at it from a different direction. We're coming at it from, we've put our time in with the song. We have an idea. And no, we're not far along where we can figure out the whole thing. We will go get some help. But we're coming at it with confidence, right? We know at least some stuff about this song. Now you're coming at this as a learning experience. You're building your ear, your musical ear. I always thought that was strange when I heard people say, "How's your ear?" You're building your musical ear. It's crazy, right? But it makes sense. There is a connection between the things that you know and what you're hearing, and being able to act on that. You're able to see what you're good at, and you're able to see what you need to work on, and you're making informed decisions now about how to move forward because you have that knowledge of the song ahead of time. Learning songs this way is super beneficial, and getting into the habit of learning this way speeds up over time. At first, it doesn't feel comfortable, but it speeds up over time. So before we go to old songs, we've had a couple. Let's see here. Dwayne says, committing a song to memory, something I need. Okay, that was the last one we looked at. And then Michael. Hey, Michael. He says, I'm finding so many great songs, I get easily distracted. Move on to a new song when I run into a tough progression, right? That's what we're trying to stop here. That's what we're trying to the set lists are really, it's a goal, it's a 10 song goal, and it's something that's doable, so let's see here. Jason says, listen to 4 Chords by Axis of Awesome for examples. Okay. And then Kevin says, sometimes I struggle to learn solos by ear because after watching a video on YouTube, the way they have laid out the notes on a fretboard are easier or makes more sense than how I learned it on a fretboard by ear. Does that mean? Yeah. Sometimes you learn something and the notes may be right, but it's in a different place on the guitar. Where it could be the same exact chord or the same exact riff. I remember this from I did a gig that was a Dwayne Allman tribute gig one time, and I had like a week to do it. It was a Sky Dog. It was in Macon. It was a Sky Dog concert, and they played just like, it was kind of like a tribute band, right? Allman Brothers tribute band, and but it was a benefit. They have it every year, and they lost a guitar player. Called me to come and figure this stuff, and it was tough to learn that whole night of music, right? But there was a couple Allman Brothers songs that I was already playing that I just kind of figured out on my own. And I always struggled with them. It was tough. I was always, missing notes and those kind of things. And when I had an intense, like, week or two of study before playing this gig and watched a lot of what they did, and I didn't have the notes incorrect. I was playing them in the wrong place. There were some, especially the Dickie Best, like Jessica, there are some parts of the guitar where those runs fit really nicely, and other parts of the guitar where you're stretching a lot to do those, especially like the harmony parts and everything. So yes, Kevin, that makes a lot of sense. That's part of the study of it. And Charlie's here, just jumping on here. Hi, Charlie. How are you doing today? Hope you're good. Hope everything's good for you. Okay, so let's move on to the old songs. We're going to, part of our practice is going to be refining the old songs. There's many reasons why you would want to revisit your older songs. Not only is it just to keep them up, but how much better do you think you could play those songs now than you did when you first learned them? I looked at my first, what I call legacy set list, the first songs I learned, which was a lot of Led Zeppelin songs, to tell you the truth. I really liked Led Zeppelin a lot when I first started playing guitar. That was kind of what was going on. And I knew a lot of those songs when I learned them originally, they weren't right. I didn't learn them correctly. But I played a lot of those songs again over the years, and I learned more and more about the songs. So not only am I able to play them better now, I've been able to understand the reasons why what I'm doing now works better than what I started off with, and I can use that knowledge in other songs. Plus, I've been able to see just how far I've come, right? Which is motivating. Oh yeah, I remember I played that wrong, but here I'm playing it right now. Boy, I've come a long way. It's very motivating. And so what I do, use the same process as before. I take a listen to the recording of the old songs, and sometimes, especially like people in bands, so you play these songs all the time, like Brick House, and we did a lot of funk, like Drop the Bomb on Me, and all these fun funk songs. I don't ever listen to them, right? And so what happens a lot of times is someone in the band says, hey, we're going to play this song next week. And you go home, you learn it as fast as you can. You don't spend a whole lot of time on it. Then you jam with the band and you start doing it in a kind of a different way, and it kind of takes on a life of its own. Nothing close to what the original song looks like. So revisiting those songs, and I use my ear as much as I can. Oh, that's different. I make any changes that I found that I need to make. And then if I don't understand it, I'll go and I'll check the tab as a final thing to see if I can learn anything else or get any new ideas, maybe playing them in a different place. And, here it is, right? Here's there we go. So here's our sheet, right? Let me go back to the beginning. We have the main legacy set list with ratings. We have the future set, group of songs. We're just a dump where you can write everything down with ratings. And we have what a set list is, and an easy group of 10 songs and giving it a name, right? And then the last page we have here is a song worksheet, where you can write down your observations that we talked about. Then you can write down the specifics with the key and all those form and all those things. And then you could write down any chords or scales that you would find to help remember what that song is. Okay, so that's available for you in the download section. And most of you, I think, are in there. If you've already ever got any of my courses, then you sign up for this. It should add it to your library. If it doesn't, just let me know and I'll add that to you, to yours as well. Okay, and this week, since Positive Grid has been sponsoring all of these, we've been partnering on those. We're going to talk a little bit now about how we can use the Spark amp to help with songs. And to me, the features in the app that aren't so fancy are really valuable here. But we'll get to that in a second. So I've been enjoying getting to know this product. It's been a lot of fun. I've been practicing with it. I've been just jamming the songs and then doing all sorts of stuff. I've been picking up the guitar more often. I don't know if you can see behind me. Here, let me see what no, you can't. I've been plugging different pedals into it. I was doing Boss pedals the other day, seeing how they sound into it. It takes pedals really, really, really well. So I've been having fun with it. And, but as far as backing tracks and jamming along, it's been easy and fun to use. But the most important thing for building your ear is a tool that's in there, and it's that being able to slow down the music without changing pitch. It's very easy to do in this. I've had a lot of different programs that would do that. They were difficult. Some didn't work so good. But if you can use this for YouTube, you can use it for Spotify or Apple Music. You listen to it. You can choose to slow it down. You can loop a section. It also gives you the recommended basic chords. And then you can actually capo those basic chords for other keys. It's very simple to use. It's just the music player screen. So let's see here. Let's see if I can find something. Let me see what you guys are seeing here. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. Okay, so for YouTube, you're just going to press the music notes at the bottom of the screen. That's right there. Okay. At that point, you're going to have a page full of suggestions, song, videos, all sorts of stuff. You can press the magnifying glass at the top to search for particular songs. Once you find a song you want, you click on it. Let's see, I did Get Moving Guitar. This was the backing track from last week. Okay, pops up there. Week 4 is right at the top. Oh, no, week 3 is at the top. Either one would work. All right, so here is music player screen, right? The music player screen pops up. It loads the video right away. There's the video. If the song's been played before, someone has been on the Spark app and played it before, the chords will be below, okay? And then you also get a chord grid at the bottom, which is what the current chord is at the time and what the other chords are as you go through the song, okay? So, if the chords aren't there, if you don't have any of this, just play the song through for a minute, and then a few minutes later, they'll pop up. Their computers are learning the song just by playing it. But let's say we want a little bit more to do with this. I'm going to press this icon right up here. It's like 3 lines with some graphic EQ. It's like an EQ icon at the top right of the screen. I'm going to press that there. Okay. And this add some extra functionality to this. So this loads the loop mode and the capo mode and the speed mode, right? By pressing the loop icon here, you see that pop up red? Pressing the loop icon, you can select a selection of a song to play over and over again. And, so you can move it around. Let's see here. There we go. Create a larger section of the song. Smaller section, just a few measures. Whatever you want, whatever part of the song that you need to work on, you can select that and it will just loop that section. See how it's playing through that section. Okay? You can pinpoint a lick, all those things. But what makes this even more valuable is this next button called speed mode. Okay? So we're at 1.0 right now. That's real time. And we can hit it once and it puts it at 0.5 mode. That's half speed. Then we got 0.8 mode, which is a little bit more than 3/4 speed. And then regular. So we have 3 speeds that we can go through. Half speed, it's still intelligible enough that you can develop your ear working on some things that are a little bit different. Like I said, pinpoint a lick, a chord progression, work on it over and over, slow it down. This is gold. This is ear building stuff. And then you can also play your parts that you've learned over that section and go back and forth and listen, see what it sounds like, see how you've done. This works for Spotify as well and Apple Music accounts. You just press to do that. You press the bottom of the screen and then save songs, Apple Music or Spotify, right? So Spotify. Let's see, come on, load up there for me. There we go. Let's see here. And basically ahead of time in Spotify, you can load up playlists. It's not working for me right now, but you can load up playlists in Spotify and then you can do all the same things I just did. Be able to have those tools right there and organized because you can use also the bookmark. Let me see if I can find that real quick. All right. Let's see here. Forget Spotify. Okay, it's working now. Let's go back here. So there's the set list right there. You just press on one, and then it will show you all the songs in each set list. But I'm going to go, let's see here, back to the song that I was working on. I'm going to go out of loop mode. And right up top there, the little bookmark, that's your save songs. Okay? We now have a plan of attack. We can learn songs better before, and I showed you how you can keep track of that, especially with the bookmark there. It's very easy to go back to where you were and use how the Spark Amp is helping me to learn new songs and refine the ones I learned years ago. Okay? So that's it. That's all I have for this week. Hoping that it's going to light a fire, getting you to learn full songs. It's going to give you some good organizational tools. Hope you download the PDF and take advantage of that. And then if you have a Spark Amp or other things that will do the same functionality, how to help you get through those things. Okay? And remember that we have a promo code, which is $10 off over at Positive Grid, and that is Play Guitar 10. PLAYGUITAR10. And so now that's the end of the official podcast. I'm going to hang out and see how everybody's doing. We have a few minutes. Yeah, we have a few minutes there. And let's see what's going on. I have something that I'm working on. And some of you know I did... like a year ago, I started doing Patreon a little bit, but it didn't really seem to jive with me. It didn't really, it wasn't podcasty. You know what I mean? It was like something completely different from the podcast. And I wanted something. I've always wanted something where people who wanted to help with the podcast and want to be a part of it could do that for very, like a couple bucks here or there, and have something cool to be a part of the podcast and do something different. Well, I'm able now to do a private podcast. So I have that functionality now, and I'm mulling around about that. Having a podcast for people who want to contribute, and then I'll have a separate private podcast that you can set up and put in your regular podcast player in your phone. That's more of what we used to do. If you remember from the early podcasts, I would do the content in the beginning, and then we would kind of hang out at the end. I'd play some songs, creating the band. I want to get back to those songs. And we would talk about people who left nice reviews. I just read them all and say hi to everybody and keep up with everybody. So I'm thinking about doing something like that. I'm doing like a private podcast once a week where I just have a lot of fun, cut up, just do whatever and make it more of an inside kind of thing there. And I'm thinking, something cheap, like $7, something like that, a month. So thinking about doing that. That's an idea. If you have any opinions on that, any ideas about that, love to hear about that. I know a lot of you are here right now, and a lot of you listen to these later on. So that's an idea right now. If anyone has any ideas about that, I would love to hear about that. What else? Getting back to this next week is the last week of Get Moving Guitar, and I'm going to be adding that to the Academy as well, make it easy for people in the Academy to go through have everything that from the download site as well. But I'm going to be using that a good bit. But last week's the last week, so we're going to get back to normal after that. I've been missing Scooter. I'd love to do an acoustic thing with Scooter pretty soon. So I'm thinking about doing that. And what I've been doing is getting ahead on podcasts. And so I have more time to spend on the Academy, and I'm learning how to do that right now. That's what I've been spending my time doing, trying to get all of this. These podcasts that Get Moving Guitar have been much more work intensive than just a regular podcast there. So that's my news. That's what I've been doing. And if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and put them in the chat right now. We're going to take off in just a minute, get some lunch. It was great to see everybody. It was great to see Jason and Dean and David and Jim. Let's see here, Kevin. Let's see here, Dwayne and Lee. Great to see you. And Chris. Great to see you, Chris. So at least Facebook was working for a few minutes. It was acting funny today. And let's see, Michael and Charlie. So good group here today. And it was great to hang out with everybody. And I'm not getting questions or comments, so I'm going to go ahead and take off. So everybody have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you right back here next Wednesday. And good to see you. Bye-bye, everybody.